Alejandra, thank you so much for joining us today to chat a little bit about your recent work as Sypha in Castlevania. Um, First, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into voice acting.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, first of all. And bit about my background. I started out as a kid doing commercials and local plays and student films, like most actors start out. And in high school, I actually got an internal referral through my agency to our voiceover department and started kind of auditioning with them and seeing if it would stick. One of the first projects I actually auditioned for and ended up booking was G.I. Joe Renegades. That was when I was about 15, 16. And following that, went into Winx Club, which just completely snowballed and was an amazing, amazing experience. And I got to do so much great work on that really kind of set me up for the future and just put me on this path to just completely fall in love with voiceover and animation voiceover and this part of the industry. And then I took a little detour in my college years
Yeah, don't
when
we
I
all?
was, yeah, exactly. When I was 18, I went to Stanford and I was there for 4 years. And luckily, Nickelodeon was super, super supportive of that. So they kind of stuck with me through that and through Winx Club and found me a studio near campus so I could keep recording the show with them. Um, but during that time, I kind of took a audition hiatus in a way and started back up again auditioning about 3 months before graduation, and that's where Castlevania came in.
Awesome. So, yeah, so how did you get involved in the Castlevania project? And did you have experience with the Castlevania universe prior to being on the show?
So as far as getting involved, it was just really simple, traditional. You audition for the project. Project comes your way, you audition for it, and hope for the best. And there are some projects like this that are just so crazy amazing that you just really like cross your fingers and hope that this one's going to work out.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I got this audition about 3 months before graduation. Came in like any other audition. Recorded it in my college dorm room on my iPhone.
Wow.
Yeah, and trying to get sound dampening in there, not the funnest process. And trying to get a dorm full of college kids to keep quiet for 10 or so minutes, not the easiest thing. So that was a bit of an adventure in and of itself. But yeah, I got the offer for the job about a month before actually graduating, and prior to that, I'd been kind of really grilling myself in a way because I'd always wanted to be an actor and it's something I wanted to pursue. And up until then, school had always been at the forefront of my mind, and I was coming to the end, and I was at this crossroads of, well, do you go the traditional route and do something more stable? And there are a lot of options you can take and paths you can take uh, at that point. And I was like, no, you know what, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I want to do. And it felt kind of like a sign, in Castlevania. I was like, yeah, there's this opportunity and we want you for it. So that was amazing. And as far as my experience with the Castlevania universe prior to that, I wasn't much of a gamer growing up. And I've said this before, but kind of the extent of my gaming was Game Boy Advanced SP, the Pokemon games. And I was really into that as a kid, but I never had any game systems. I never had an NES. Obviously, I never had any of the PlayStations or Xboxes or any of that. But when the audition came up for Castlevania, I'd heard of it before, and I looked it up and did extensive research on it, especially Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, because that's what source material we were primarily pulling from, and that Warren was primarily pulling from for this, and just got so pulled into the source material that was there. It was so not actually colorful, but the stories and the characters and the mythology behind it. There was just so much to pull from, and it just seemed like an awesome adventure. So I was really excited for that.
Did you, since then, have you like, have you gotten into it? Have you picked up a system or anything and tried out a Castlevania game in the time since, or is that maybe now on your radar?
I haven't, but I totally should.
Yes, yes.
I am definitely one of those gamers that like you can kind of joke about that is just not very graceful or delicate with the controller or the joystick or anything. It's kind of like you're either
You
looking at
like
the
lean
sky
with
or
it when
looking
you
at the
jump, right? You know, just couching it over.
exactly. Yeah, I'm like I'm going the whole VR route. Like my whole body's into it.
Yeah.
But I definitely would like to try that. I currently don't have any game systems that I've picked up, but it's definitely in my future.
All right. Awesome. So, what was the recording process like? So, was this more of like remote work where you went to a nearby studio, or you submitted it doing maybe you had your own personal studio, or were you brought to a studio to do that work? And did you get a chance to interact with any of your counterparts in the series, like Graham McTavish or Richard Armitage?
I actually went into the studio, very traditional record. Went into an awesome studio. We recorded for the first season at Salami Studios, which I mean is a very famous studio, and a lot of people have heard of, and a lot of great work has come through those walls and halls and booths throughout the years. So just being there was awesome too. Um, but yeah, I came into the booth to do a record like I would have any other. And for that first record, James Callis was actually in, who voices Alucard.
Oh, nice.
So my first record was with James. Got to do the first part of my stuff with him, and I remember just standing there with this really nice, proper British guy, and he starts opening his mouth to voice his Alucard lines, and this really deep and imposing kind of elegant aristocratic voice comes out, which was very, very cool. And then about halfway through my record, when James was done, Tony Amendola walked in, which for me, and he voices the elder, so he was my grandfather. But for me, that was an insanely amazing moment because I was a huge Stargate SG-1 fan growing up, and he played Master Braytak on the show, which was one of my favorite characters. I don't know if you're into Stargate at all,
I'm not,
but
unfortunately. So these are kind of going like over my head a little bit, but that sounds amazing.
yeah, no, it was crazy to see him walk in, and he was just standing on the other side of the glass, and I had a moment of hold it in,
Don't
be
fangirl. Don't
professional.
fangirl in front of your
Exactly.
coworker here.
I know you're at work.
Yeah.
But I did manage to get a selfie in there during a break, and he was very nice about that and very receptive. Um, yeah, so that was great. And then um, can't say too much in general about this, but as far as just recording for the second season, was able to record with Richard Armitage and James Callis there in a group record, at least for some of it. So that was great to be able to play off of each other and work off of each other and actually meet, some of the other people behind the voices.
That's fantastic. So that actually gets to a question I had a little bit later. So season two has already been confirmed, and you're returning for that. It sounds like. Um, so I'm guessing you might not be able to talk about it. Is recording confirmed? Is it finished?
Um, that I don't mind confirming because I know they tweeted out about it.
Okay.
All of the voice recording for season two is done.
Wow.
And now it's all up to the amazing guys over at Powerhouse and everyone else
Now it's
involved.
the easy stuff, right? Just the animation. That's the easy stuff.
Oh yeah.
So there was some chatter regarding the presumed anti-religious message behind Castlevania. You see some of this like on the reviews and things like that on IMDb.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the series' take on religion? I know that you kind of approaching it from a different like, perspective.
Personally, I was never offended by any of the religious commentary that was done on the show. I know a lot of people were a bit upset or felt that it was attacking Christianity in some way. But I mean, I've tweeted out about this and been pretty open about the fact that I wasn't offended personally, and I felt that one, it was a commentary on the time. It's historically accurate for what was happening at the time within the church. Um, two, I think it's very important to separate what we see as religion and faith and church and God. I don't think they are a catch-all for the other. They're not necessarily synonymous. So I don't think the church is God, and I don't necessarily think that religion, which itself is a man-made construct, encompasses faith. I think they go hand in hand, and to different degrees throughout history. But I think it's also commentary on the fact that people aren't infallible, and there were some priests in the show that were seen or were shown to be faithful to their beliefs, and some priests that were more in pursuit of power. And Addie had a great discussion and kind of post about this on Facebook, and has a lot of great examples. So for anyone that would like to read more on that, I would direct them there. But another example I'd throw out is the Pharisees in the New Testament. They were supposed to be the heads of the church, and yet they were involved in bribery and deception, and ultimately putting an innocent man to death. And that was technically the church then, but it wasn't necessarily Judaism or Christianity or faith.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess that's what I would say. I think it was a very honest representation. And even when you see, spoiler alert for those that haven't finished the whole
Okay,
thing,
spoiler alert. I mean, you should have watched it by now. It's like an hour and a half. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to put that out there just in case. I don't want to ruin someone's day. When Blue Eyes comes into the church to talk to the bishop, and he tells him, and the bishop tells him, actually, how are you in the house of God? You can't be here. And Blue Eyes tells him, very straightforward, this God isn't here. This is an empty building. We couldn't be here if he was.
Right. That's
So
a great, that was a really great scene too. The way that he was just telling him that it's an empty box.
yeah, no, I mean, I think it was one of the best scenes. And actually, my mother watched the show, and that was one of her favorite scenes. It's one of the ones she connected to most, and she is, a very faithful Christian, and she's strong in her faith, and it was something that she was like, it's just honest, it's just truthful, because we put sometimes, as humans ourselves, too much faith and power in the hands of other humans, through symbolic means, and so yeah, I think it's just being cautious and careful of the fact that people are not infallible, and just because there's a title or some kind of fancy symbolism doesn't necessarily mean that things are automatically imbued with a certain divinity or perfection or anything around that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your thoughts. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are there any projects? So you finished recording for season 2. What projects are you working on now or in the near future?
So I don't have anything to plug for you right now. I'm constantly looking for new projects, and just in general, if there's anything that comes up when I'm able to speak about it, then I will post that on Twitter. So when stuff comes up and when I'm allowed to talk about stuff and other projects, that will definitely be up on my social media.
All right. So you're saying follow you on Twitter is what you're saying.
If you're interested, sure.
Alejandra Reynoso on Twitter. Got it. Zeros for the O's.
Yes, zeros for Yo's.
I always have to say
Very
that too, like mythical
complicated.
entertainment with an I. Mythical
Yes,
with
exactly.
an I.
My name's taken. What could I do?
Yeah.
Make it more complicated.
So it's on the later end of convention season, but will you be making any appearances in relation to your Castlevania performance, so people can meet you in person?
I don't have anything planned for this convention season, but I mean, in the future, I definitely, yeah, I'd love to connect with people, if they'll have me. So, yeah, maybe in the future, but I don't think anything's planned for this convention season.
And then we'll wrap up with what's your favorite line of Sypha's from the show?
She has a lot of great ones. She has great little sassy zingers. Um, and then also, I have to remember to make sure it's only season one.
Yeah,
Um,
don't spoil
yeah,
season 2 for me.
right? Just like, "She never said that." I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
well, now she did.
Um, I love when she's up on the roof and, she tells Trevor, "I didn't ask you to fight for me, I fight for myself."
Yeah,
That one, yeah, it's kind of a good little standalone line that she had.
awesome. I think a fan favorite is pissing in a cup and telling him that it's
That's
beer.
like you could pee in a bucket and tell him it's beer.
Yeah, yeah,
What? He was rude. I was justified.
yeah. Anyways, Alejandra, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today about your work on Castlevania. I know I'm not the only one who's very much looking forward to season 2 and really appreciate and admire your work as Sypha. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. And I will say this season two is going to be amazing, amazing. I can't tell you anything about it, but Warren outdid himself. Everyone on the project has just been doing such a fantastic, amazing job. And I'm just so just floored and grateful that I was able to be a part of this project with great people like Addie and Kevin and Meredith and all the guys at Powerhouse, Sam and Adam and Spencer. It's just been a great, great ride. So thank you.